Morning all, how we doing? All good? Hopefully the sound's a bit better in here now. I've got some of my sound deadening up on the walls. It's not actually attached, it's just standing on the walls. So fingers crossed it's not quite as echoey in here today. But I've still got a load of other stuff to put in. So anywho, how are we all doing? Non-farm payroll day today. So 1:30 non-farm payroll. We've got the Canadian unemployment along with non-farm and obviously the unemployment figures for the US. So that's the biggie today. We've got Lagarde speaking as well at 12:55. So just be aware we may get some impact on the euro at the same time. I'm not quite sure when the forecasts are coming out. It's just as tentative. But anyway, they don't really tend to do an awful lot. So main focus of the day is non-farm. Banks yesterday, 0.94%. So pretty good day yesterday. I did post all these trades in the group. So got a pound Swiss, got something we can see. 15-minute do. So pound Swiss was a quick short. I think that was an ADR play, wasn't it? I can't remember. Is that an ADR? Yeah. Yeah, so that was an ADR scalp short. That worked out very nicely. Aussie New Zealand I got out of completely. You have to go out to the hourly to see these. So this one was from all closed out there. So it's that trade there, and that one I took a scratch on. I've milked loads out of this Aussie New Zealand, so I just wanted to be out because basically we are not going anywhere. And there's obviously a high chance being back up at these highs that we are just going to drop back down again, potentially, if we're going to stay in this range. So got out of all of those, got flat. I'll add in again. If we do get back down to here, I'll just add into that one again. CAD yen, is that yesterday? 7th? Yeah. CAD yen closed out one. From there. So again, this has been just popping down, rangy for a couple of days. So I took that one off the previous day, added back on, took off again. We're just pulling down at the moment. I'm not going to add in again because I added another one in yesterday when I took that one off. So I've got two positions on. We're very close to break even on that one. So not worried about that. And an Aussie yen I banked. So again, same sort of thing. Just keep banking while it's doing this range bound stuff. Got another position on. We're pushing up at the moment. That's my break even. I've got 3 positions on in total on that one. So just looking for a little bit of a push, hopefully on the Aussie today, or a little bit of weakness on the yen to get out of that one. I had an opportunity to escape that one yesterday. I didn't take it because it only had about £40 in profit on it, and I was hoping the Aussie was going to push overnight, or we had some yen weakness, but we got the opposite. I don't know if this was anything to do with that shooting in Japan, but I doubt it because it's currency strength on the yen side, but not sure. Excuse me, just drink. Got a froggy throat this morning. Morning Kennelly, morning Jesse, morning Diamond. Happy non-farm payroll day. So yeah, so that's yesterday. So good week, 4% this week, just over. The euro pound scalp I took yesterday, I'm in still. It didn't play out yesterday. So euro pound got, I think it was 175 ADR. I think it was, we hit 100 about 175 ADR. Entered long on the reversal alert. It was a really, really tight one in here. Somewhere in there, I think it was that candle there. I think it was a reversal alert, or it might have been this one here. We had a little push down from there. I had a second position on at 200 ADR, which it didn't hit. My stop was a bit lower. So all we did basically through Asia was accumulate, and then we've had another reversal alert up this morning. So I've dragged my stop up underneath that low just to reduce risk, and I've got rid of that second position. So I'm not looking for much on this because it's a scalp. It's a bit of a larger position size. So I'm targeting this propulsion gap here underneath this resistance. So if we are going to continue euro pound weakness, we may find some resistance there, and obviously that's going to be fairly close, about 3/4 of an ADR move anyway. So I think that's a logical place to take profit on this one, which is about 0.5%. So we'll see if it gets there. It might come down, but my risk is only 0.25%, so it's 2-to-1 risk reward. So got that one working. Pound CAD got 3 positions on, 1 in profit. Aussie Yen 3 positions on, 1 in profit. CAD Yen 2 positions on, 1 nearly in profit. So nothing, just not going anywhere. Again, it's stuck in all this stuff for weeks, just milking it and making money out of it, which is lovely. But it's just nice to get out and finish and close a position. But it's just not happening at the moment. So morning, Analia. Ladder, morning. Non-farm payroll day today. So quite often on non-farm days, we tend to get a fairly flat session. Basically, the market waits for non-farm to execute positions a lot of the time. So the non-farm payrolls are just a very weird anomaly in the financial markets. It has no impact at all on, and same as the unemployment rate, it has no impact on monetary policy for the Fed. Yet for some reason the central banks use this to do massive manipulation and start the moves that they want to move with. So it's just one of those weird things that the market makers have chosen to be, let's move the market on this news event. But it has no fundamental impact whatsoever because it's a reactionary report rather than a predictive report. So it's just bizarre. But anyway, non-farm does tend to move the market a lot. So we get a lot of whipsaw quite often. So I would expect today for us to stay somewhere within an Asian range. Quite often we will just flop around in the Asian range, or stick our head out the top and the bottom and just hover, basically waiting for 130. And 130 we then tend to get that massive spike where they will either reach for liquidity or they will basically just whipsaw and then come back and do nothing with it. There is no way of telling what's going to happen non-farm. Sometimes they use it for liquidity runs and then start a move. Other times they whipsaw you, take everybody out that's trying to trade the news and committing suicide with their accounts. You just can't tell. So it's just a waiting game, basically. If you've got any US dollar, and I've been trying to get into some US dollar exposure all week, and because the market's been sideways, I've just taken profit because it doesn't look like it's moving anywhere, and we've just been floating around. So I haven't managed to get into any US dollar exposure. I'm not planning to this morning either, so it's probably not going to affect me a great deal, but everything moves on non-farm. So you'll find every pair will obviously fluctuate. So you need to just watch all your positions. So 130, I'll be watching this like a hawk. Anything that goes nicely into profit, I'll just be sticking it basically over here and banking it. Anything that goes into drawdown, I'll be looking for signs of weakness in the spike to add extra positions in, because you usually get a retracement on the spike. So it either makes you money or it gets you into a position which makes you money most of the time, which is great. So you just need to be careful and just don't try and straddle it, basically, which is what everybody tries to do, because that's, if you stick a buy there and a sell there, they'll just do that and you'll just get stopped out on your buy, you get stopped out on your sell. So just got to be a bit smart with it and try not to use it as a money making instrument, really. So that's where I am, obviously, as we know at the minute. Aussie Yen, to say I've been in Aussie Yen for a while, sideways, just taking money out of it, and I'm just going to continue taking money out of it as long as it keeps moving up and down. CAD Yen, same thing, taking a couple of nice trades out of it, taking 3 profits out of it, got 2 positions on, just waiting for some movement in some direction or another. And Pound CAD, we've started to push up a little, but we've rejected these highs. So this is the one out of all my trades at the moment that I'm a little bit wary of. I was looking basically for Canadian dollar strength to push this back down. We went into this range and I was looking basically for an initial position down, and then this position here, sell stop, was a break of these lows here. And then a continuation move to the downside. What actually happened is we've gone into an accumulation because oil's dropped and Canadian dollar's gone weak. The pound hasn't had any strength either, so we're just sitting sideways. So if we can get this one into profit this afternoon, I'm probably just going to close this out because the pound, when it goes, can go quite quick. We quite often see 300 ADR days on the pound when it wants to move, and the way that we've broken this high potentially means we've got a new peak formation low put in, so we may well just get a pullback and new leg start to the upside on it, assuming that the CAD doesn't power up. There's no reason the pound's going to power up, especially with what's happened with Boris Johnson resigning yesterday. So it's just the pound is not going to strengthen. We're waiting on the CAD, and that's the thing that's letting this trade down at the moment. So if we can get back down to here, get an ADR hit or anything on it today, I'll just quit the lot and take 0.25% or whatever it's giving me, because I just don't like it going sideways like this. Looking at oil, we have had a bit of a recovery on it yesterday, which is lovely. So we've had this big drop, and taking out the lows and putting a new high. So potentially we're looking for that sort of price action to get this leg started back up again. But oil's dropped a little bit more than I was expecting it to. So looking for recovery on oil on H4 here. So just some kind of retest around here and then a push back up today. Potentially obviously on non-farm. So that will give us a bit of strength in the CAD, which is what I need. So that's where I am. That's where I was yesterday. ADRs, nothing's hit. Weeklies, it's Friday. I don't think there's any opportunities on these. Let's quickly have a look at them. Yeah, Euro odd is not a bad one actually. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Market's just opened. Haven't got the crickets on. Oh. Where they gone? Wow, what an open. It's not pretty. So we've got a DAX gap potential to fill there. They've come down, taken out the lows. We'll have a look at the indices in a minute. So potentially got a run on the DAX this morning. Very, very, very weak open. Look. Not a lot going on by the looks of things at the minute. So, Euro odd is extended 150 of its weekly range. So potentially, obviously, we've had this big drop. We've just had the reversal alert this morning on M15 here and retest. So you're not far away. This is the retest candle here. So if you took the retest on it, you're actually at the entry point now. So this could be a nice little long opportunity, very nicely extended. Will be extended, I suspect, on the hourly. We've just come out of an extension on the hourly. 4 hourly will probably are extended, yeah. So potentially a nice little scalp long on Euro odd. The rest of these euros, Euro pound I'm in long at the moment anyway. Euro yen, Euro New Zealand. I mean, the Euro's been absolutely tanking. So these are all potentially got a push back up. Euro US dollar might be a decent looking long scalp today. Obviously bear in mind that they may well, if you do go long on it, whipsaw you out at the open on non-farm. So always tricky trying to trade non-farm. But yeah, nothing much else there. Monthlies, we've got 2 monthlies hit already, Euro pound and Euro US dollar. So I'm in that Euro pound long. but they've hit monthly range already. We're only on the 8th of the month, and it's obviously tanked, as you can see. So it's helped by that US dollar push of 225 ADR that we had this week. So I get the feeling we're going to get some strength on the US dollar today. So just got to be a bit careful of things like the euro US dollar. But yeah, not sure. We'll see. So there's nothing much to look at on ADRs. Never seen tick strike be that quiet at the open. Yeah, no, it's really quiet. I'm not going to be trading. I might have a little go on the futures this morning, but I'm not really planning on trading this morning. New York after non-farm payroll is usually quite quiet as well. There will be some movement, but you just got to be a bit careful with whipsawing. So on this DAX, watch these lows. If we get a rejection of these lows and break back inside the opening range, that's probably quite a nice little gap fill. We'll have a quick look at those in a minute, the indices. But it could be a nice little trade opportunity there. So hourlies, nothing, flat, no movement in Asia. And the 4 hourlies pretty much the same as before. So Euro odd, obviously very, very extended on the 4 hour. That one's just started to play out. For God's sake. I hate this is one of my biggest bugbears about this is it should know when I've selected an instrument and changed my chart that I'm interested in using this chart, not leave it on the one I was on. If I change this here, this should highlight because I've done something with it. It doesn't. It's just one of my bugbears about MT4. Anyway, Euro odd. I haven't got many about it, but that's one of them. Euro odd. So yeah, very extended on the 4 hour. We're just starting to come out of that extension with that M15 reverse alert we've had this morning. So potentially a good looking opportunity for longs. All these euros are. Euro CAD, just dumping, obviously based on the CAD. You know, normally, as I say, I would be interested in these. I haven't been interested in long in the euro for 2 years. I don't think I've taken a long on the euro for a good 2 years. I'm not planning to start now. When the rates change, yes, I think the market will start to get interested. And I was expecting the market to be a little bit more bullish on the euro in the run-up to the rate announcement at the end of this month, but it hasn't happened yet. So until they show me some signs of strength in the euro, I'm not interested in long in it. I'll take a scalp on it, because a scalp, I'm only looking for sort of 40, 50 pips or something like that, but I'm not looking to position trade it. So these are all completely wrong bias for me at the moment. CAD, yeah, is a long, so you want to be short on it. Euro pound is massively extended. I'm in this, this is not a position trade, this is a scalp long, but you can see obviously we got very, very extended. Anything below the 20, when we start lighting up in the 20s, 80s, 20s, those are my really interested, because if it gets down to there, you know, you've had a massive movement, there's been some big order execution, and there's a lot of guys that are going to be taking profit on those moves. So when we get down to the 80-20s, you get some decent pullbacks typically. So this is where I'm really interested. This one I've got into because it's done the ADR 175 ADR move yesterday. So but even so, look, I mean, it's not looking particularly healthy, is it, at the minute on the 4 hour? It's pulling back. So but yeah, I'm not looking to position trade any of these euros long at the moment. There's nothing here that I'm interested in. You can take all of them with a scalp. I mean, this is absolutely shot. Look how stretched that is from the 24. When it gets to that level of movement, there's either something massive fundamental going on, or you're going to get that ping back. And obviously non-farm today could be that catalyst. We don't know whether they're going to go long or short with the US dollar. They're not going anywhere with it at the moment. That's the thing. We've had this big strong push, one legging, and that's about it. So, you know, it's difficult to tell what to do with it at the moment. Pound Swiss, extended to the upside. So this is something I'm interested in, pound Swiss short. And we just had a bearish engulfing on that and a 15-minute reversal alert. So I've got my pound CAD short on at the moment. Where did we stop? Looks like we're getting that rejection off the lows on the DAX. Yeah, perfect rejection. Oh my god, I'm really tempted to take that. I'm not going to take it. I've told myself I'm not going to scalp in this account, even though I really, really want to press. Even just a little buy stop. I'm not going to do it though. Because I'm using futures as my scalping vehicle now. But yeah, it looks like a lovely gap fill opportunity. Sorry, bear with me one sec. I'm just setting up some trades. Okay. I'm just setting up some longs basically to on the ES. So yeah, nice looking potential there. It may not get there because we might find today that we're going to have a choppy mess because of non-farm. If it's either going to go, and it will probably go pretty fast if it does, sort of, you know, we'll just get there and get it done, or we won't because the market's not really interested in doing anything. We'll just get a whippy session. But that's a lovely rejection of those lows there. What was I talking about? H4s, yeah. So pound Swiss, I like the look of. I've got pound CAD short. I've got no Swissy on at the moment. I extended on the pound. That's because of that scalp, so I don't mind that actually. Yeah, I'm going to have a go on that pound Swiss short. 7 and 8 pound Swiss. Shorts. 18. So I'm going to take a break of the Asian low. That's my initial entry. If it pushes up and invalidates this reversal alert this morning, I will automatically get in with the EA on the next reversal alert, and this will be an add-on position, assuming that we are carrying on that move and breaking the Asian lows. So, like the look of that pound Swiss based on this pullback into this potential resistance. Failing that, I've got the 24, somewhere around the 24 to act. The danger with this one is obviously we don't get that continuation Swiss franc strength, and basically we just start to grind up. So there's quite a long way to go on this if the trade doesn't work out. So we want to make sure the spacing is good on it. 300, so it's 3 ADR basically, roughly, as a potential to the strongest resistance. So I wouldn't want to get into more than 3 positions on that on the way up. So yeah, pound Swiss looks good from a 4-hour perspective. And US dollar Swiss. So the US dollar Swiss has been pushing. So it's the only one based on obviously that US dollar strength that is actually managing to beat the Swissy to any degree at the moment. Looking for some kind of resistance in this propulsion gap. So today, during non-farm, could well be when we tap into that area and pick up a load of sellers. So we'll see what happens with this. It'll be interesting to see how far this gets this afternoon, if it even gets there. And again, you know, the other thing Non-farm payroll can be a dud as well as FOMC. So we may well get that sort of, that's it, not interested. Don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But but that looks pretty good as well. Why did that not trigger on my other account? 2022, because I didn't place a buy. Oh, it's the wrong account, that's why. Sorry, one sec. Oh, no, it's there. Okay. Right, so that's the 4 hours. Like the pound Swiss, because I like the pound short, I like the Swiss long, and these euros all pretty good for scalps, but position trading opportunities not as much. This is coming all the way back down at the minute. So hopefully we're going to find the support rectangle holds this. And we just get a bounce off of that. Fingers crossed. Yen's still going okay. So yeah, euro just getting some euro weakness again. I mean, this euro's shot, really is shot. It's so unbelievably weak at the moment. We'll see what happens with that one. I'm not even sure I want to take a loss on this, to be honest. What's my risk on it? 0.25%. I've had a good week. I'll risk 0.25% on it. I'll let it go. It's a good risk reward. Morning, Trevor. Jesse, Bloomberg keeps talking about the euro US dollar parity. We might get it next week. It's only 160 pips away. What? Euro US dollar parity? What's that mean? What are you talking about? I don't understand what that means. 160 pips away. Are you talking about a level or something? That is a term I'm not familiar with. I'll have to explain that one. I'm not getting in the way of that. Euro is going to power up, I believe, when we get the rate announcement. Oh, 1-to-1. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there will be a million. I can guarantee there'll be a million limit orders sitting there. It's going to get a bounce off of that. It's going to get a bounce. Whether it gets a reversal or not has got nothing to do with anything but economics and fundamentals. And at the moment, the fundamentals are not good. So we just hit 150% of our weekly range. So yeah, I mean, this is the thing. These talking heads on Bloomberg and stuff, they rally the market up. By pointing out obvious stuff. And then they go, yeah, see, we got down there. It's like, well, yeah, of course it got down there. Look at the state of it. It's been dropping for months. Why would you think it's suddenly going to turn around just before it gets to that level where everybody psychologically is going to have limit orders set? You know, it's just an obvious thing. But they do play out, big round number bounces. But at the end of the day, the economies are different. And the market will do what the market needs to do based on what's going on. But you will get a bounce off of that, I'm pretty sure. So there's this lovely scalp opportunity there. But there's also a massive opportunity for the banks to make an absolute killing. Because they know damn well, and they will have orders there as well, they know damn well that as soon as you get some bullish price action, the entire world's going long. What do you think they're going to do as soon as the entire world goes long and they see all this lovely free money? So I would take a W off the bottom, but I wouldn't take a bounce if you're using a stop. And I wouldn't position trade it off of that either, because just because it's a round number doesn't mean that all of a sudden the economy of the European Union is going to get better. But yeah, I totally agree. I think we're heading there. Do you know what we've got today? Non-farm payroll. Why not? Why not use that to get there and do the bounce? Who knows? But, we've been above that for the past 20 years. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're at 20-year lows now. 2002 is the last time we were anywhere near this level. So, yeah, it's not good. And you know, every single central government and central bank is talking about recession next year. There's no reason anything should change. Everything you see on your charts right now that is happening and playing out right now, there's nothing on the horizon that is going to change this. The economies are still stuffed. COVID is still around. We've got interest rates which are not going anywhere, but up. We've got inflation which is just spiraling out of control. We've got conflict. We've got everything that is causing this movement. There's nothing changing. Nothing's going to change. The banks have said, oh, don't worry about recession, don't worry about a recession for the last 6 months. In the last month, they've all turned around and go, yeah, it's probably going to happen. It's like, no, really? I can't see any reason why this shouldn't just keep going. Same with Bitcoin. This is going to carry on going down. No one's got any money. All the criminals have got nobody to extort money from, so they're not using their Bitcoins anymore. That's criminalist. Ooh, let's go. Anybody on the gap fill? Don't get scared. Right, looking at our indices. We've gone nowhere. It's the same. I'm like a stuck record this week, aren't I? We haven't gone anywhere this week on anything ever, apart from gold. Yeah, so we're pulling back on the DAX at the moment. Obviously, we're still in a bear market. We've come off of this level down here, which is why we've got the bounce. Likely to be temporary. We've got no reverse alert, so we've got no strength at the moment. Obviously, today's not played out yet. So still looking for short opportunities. These highs of these last 3 days, last week and beginning of this week, should act as a lovely resistance level, easier to see on lower time frames. Probably easier to see on the hourly. Yeah. We got this little gap there. So I would suspect this sort of area, when we push up into there today, is where we will start to see some kind of reaction on the DAX. So a little bit upside today and then more downside. Nasdaq, yesterday we had a lovely big bull day. Again, we're coming up to potential resistance, double top resistance, just under an ADR. S&P, same thing. Yeah, so looking for double top potentially, and the Dow. Dow's got a little bit further to go. It's got to do an ADR push. The Dow was really leading the way yesterday with the indices. Really easy to trade yesterday. Just followed the Dow basically. Everything the Dow did, the ES and the Nasdaq tended to follow it a little bit later. So it was playing follow the leader yesterday. Really nice trading. So yeah, really good opportunities. I think we're going to get a bit of bullishness this morning, and then they'll probably pull it back, ready for non-farm. And again, non-farm payroll 130. The indices are going to go mental. So if you're trading top step, anybody that's in a top step combine, you cannot be live. If you're in stage 2 evaluation or you've got a top step combine, you have to be flat for non-farm payroll. Just remind yourself, I have a calendar note that pops up and tells me. Apex, you can do what you like. They don't care. But if I was you, I'd be flat, because if it goes the wrong way, you can quite easily blow your account. Last time I tried to scalp non-farm, I got slipped by about 30 points. Not 30 points, 30 ticks in futures, especially in illiquid markets like the ES and particularly in the NASDAQ. You will get slipped massively when that non-farm figure comes out. So you might say, I want to get in at XYZ level. If you say I want to get in here, you will get slipped and you'll enter in here. Your stop will be here. And before you know it, that's happened and that's it. You've just done $400 literally within a second. So dangerous. So especially in futures. So just be very careful, because obviously there's a lot of money on the line with every tick. So be careful with it. I'm going to be flat. So we broke the high. Still pushing at the minute. Slowing down a little bit though. So that's all the RSI's done. Has anybody got anything specific they're interested in looking at? Let me know. Pound CAD's just coming into profit. I think I'll let that run today. GU is letting you out. Yeah. This is, to me today, normally this is normally a quiet session. This doesn't seem particularly quiet at the moment, does it? Wow. Morning. Jesus. There's big moves coming in. US dollar. Just pulling back on the indices at the minute. 125 weekly range on Euro CAD. Euro's not happy at all. I'm going to reduce risk on this. If we get a reversal alert to the downside, I'm getting out. I don't like the way this market's selling off so fast this morning. I'm just going to reduce my risk down to 50 quid on it. Some big fast moves coming in across multiple pairs at the minute. So got some yen strength, looks like, as well. But the pound, definitely not happy. I didn't cover the overnight news, did I? I haven't even looked at this morning. Where's my news? Why can't I get further news than that? Okay. Three and a half, right? That's interesting. So they're basically saying we're taking interest rates up to 3.5%, and it looks like they're going to go 0.75 basis point hikes each time as well. So we'll be there by the end of the year, 3.5% easy. Probably there by the end of the summer. Look how much money the yen, they're hemorrhaging cash at a rate of knots. Look at that. Ouch. Right. So yeah, nothing else particularly interesting overnight. I've got some profit on the table. I'm tempted to get out of some of this. this action that we're seeing here on the pound CAD, this is the sort of thing you tend to get on a non-farm day quite a lot of the time. So you'll see the Asian low get taken, and then they'll just basically come back up inside, muck about for a little bit, then they'll take out the Asian highs, and you just basically get a whipsaw action, which is then basically clearing the decks and building a book ahead of non-farm. So I'm just thinking if this is the play that they're doing this morning, I've got my out on this right now. They did a liquidity run yesterday as well with that double top. So they took this double top out yesterday. So everybody that shorted this in the last week is now out of the market. Oh God, pressure. That euro pound's going to stop out. So you can probably hear the cogs turning at the moment. I'm just thinking. I'm taking one off of the pound CAD. I'm going to leave these two running. I'm just going to reduce drawdown rate basically on that one. There's not enough in the end. That's stopping out. It's just about to go flat. So that'll basically help pay for that failed scalp. So we've got the reverse alert short. I'm just wary about this just tanking today. It's fairly big position because it's a scalp. I just don't want to. I don't want to let it give me a full risk. So. Monitor the rest. Oh, let's go. Lovely. I'm going to press my favourite button, flat all. Ta-da! Breakfast. Paid for. I love futures. $700 in the bank. I think on the US and Asian sessions decided to squeeze. Obviously, everyone would short the Boris news. Yeah, I was saying to my wife. She said to me, "What's the markets make of this Boris resignation?" And I was like, "Well, that's got absolutely nothing. Who's in control of the country has got nothing to do with the economics of the world. Boris leaving." Isn't good or bad. I'm out of the euro pound. It's got nothing to do with central bank policy. Bailey is in charge of what happens with the pound. So Boris Johnson resigning and leaving sometime in the next 3 months and us having a new leader isn't going to affect the inflation or deflation of the pound. It's got nothing to do with it. You'll get market spikes and a bit of fluctuation off of these sorts of things because it obviously creates instability in everything, but it doesn't actually affect monetary policy in any way. So I wouldn't worry about change of leadership. The same thing with the elections. When we have the elections we had recently in France, it doesn't affect the euro really. Who's in control of one country? They're not in charge of policy with money, so it doesn't tend to really do anything. That's really what I've got for you today. So if there's anything anybody wants to look at specifically, I might have a quick whiz through all the pairs and just see if there's anything interesting that I can get into ahead of non-farm. So all these Swissies, basically, I've just taken, well, I haven't taken a pound Swiss yet, but I'm set up to go short pound Swiss. So all of these Swiss francs are having a bit of a pullback at the moment. Apart from the Euro Swiss, obviously, which is dying on its backside. Monthly range just hit on the Euro Yen. US dollar Swiss hit weekly, that doesn't matter. But yeah, Euro Yen, oh, damn. Market's pushing harder. I got out before the gap fill, just because I had $700 on the table. I can't not take that off. But yeah, the gap fill's still in play. The markets are still pushing. So we've got a little bit more room on that. Yeah, so all these Swissies, basically, you've got pullbacks happening now on the initial drops. The big question mark since that happened, since the rate change happened, is are we going to come back and are we going to test the gap or not? Don't know, but we are on our way. So I'm betting that we're not going to get there because the Swiss is going to power up. So I'm kind of playing this as being a flag, which is why I'm looking to get in on the pound Swiss short. But you can do the same thing with all of these at the moment. They're all pulling back nicely, and as I say, just look for areas of support resistance, and look for, you know, if we're going to go into a trend, when a trend starts, we get an initial pullback to the 24, and then we get bounces back to the 24.72, and it continues that way. So this is a decent enough pullback for me to be interested in starting a position. If it continues up, fine. I'm not getting him necessarily on an extension. It is extended, but you know, this is what the dashboard's for. It's to remind me to look at the chart and go, yeah, that's what I was waiting for, and get in. So I kind of like it just because of the weakness in the pound, but all of them are pretty good. Aussie Swiss as well. If the Swiss is going to power up, it's going to take everything with it. Aussie Yen, I'm long already. Aussie New Zealand, I'm out. Now it's pushing. Thank you. Always the way. Any kind of pullback from this range high, I'll be interested in longing. Oh, I should have stayed in those. I could have had a couple of grand now. Never mind. Hindsight. Aussie dollar, US dollar short. That started to play out already yesterday. I'm not getting in ahead of non-farm, but yeah, that's a lovely look at that. If you ever wanted any confirmation about propulsion gaps, yeah, filled, tested, sellers. Good to at least there, aren't you? So yeah, that's good. Aussie US, CAD Swiss. So this one, obviously, we've got strength on the CAD. The CAD's been very, very weak. It's held up very well, not quite as well as the US dollar, but it's the second fiddle at the moment to the US dollar. So Euro US dollars hit ADR. Really glad I got out of that Euro pound. Yep. Which one was I on then? CAD Swiss, wasn't I? So again, same thing. I'm interested in shorting this. I'm not actually as interested in shorting CAD Swiss as I am in all the other Swisses, because the CAD is strong. It's strong against strong. So I'd be much more interested in the other pairs, but we are pulling back. If we could get up to there, 175 ADR, I will be so extended. I think that's when I would be interested in maybe starting a short. And go from there. So, Jesse, does Apex not have DAX? You can see the DAX, you can't trade it. It's on the Eurex market, so you can actually see the DAX. But it's the same stuff, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I'm playing that trade I've just taken, made $700 on. Is the DAX gap fill I'm playing, but I'm playing it on the S&P. They all do the same thing, don't they? Remember, don't forget. Indices move in tandem because of sector buying. So the S&P is doing the same thing as the DAX. The DAX is just we can use the DAX to identify gaps because of the timings, the open and close of the exchange. So, but I traded the gap fill on the DAX. I traded it on the ES. But you haven't got the DAX. You can see it, but you can't trade it. They don't allow you to trade the DAX. You can only trade CME products. But they all do the same thing. You could have traded the NAS. You could have traded the Dow. Take your pick. They all do the same stuff. So CAD Swiss, yeah, not quite as nice as all the others because of the strength in the CAD. Getting extended. I'd want, if I was going to short the CAD, I'd want it to be proper, 80 extensions, yeah, so that I know we've got a definite profit take on the way. I'm not really interested at 70. I want it really stretched if I'm going to get interested in shorting that one. CAD Yen, I'm long. I've only got 2 positions on it, starter positions. I'm looking for the 20 bounce to hold, which it was. I've played it already a few times, and I'm just waiting for the CAD strength to come through at the moment, which we're not getting. So, what happens with the yen is massively affected. Swissy yen has just hit weekly range as well. 175 weekly range euro US dollar now. Oh, Jesus, that's coming down. So yeah, the yen obviously will be massively affected by non-farm. Non-farm moves to the US dollar moves to the yen. Therefore, you'll get yen movement this afternoon as well. So depending on what happens in non-farm, we could well get a lovely spike on the yen, which will give me all these exits on the Aussie yen and the CAD yens. So I'll be seeing what happens with those. If the spike goes the opposite way, I'll be scaling into another position because we'll be down at ADRs on those. So either way. Okay, I didn't understand how you got that DAX fill. You got an NES, yeah. Yes, they're in tandem, yeah. This is why I have all of them in tick strike. They all move at the same time. So when you're seeing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, that's just individual stock purchases. When you're seeing the whole thing lighting up red and green, that's sector buying. So they will all move as somebody executes a 1.5 million block sector buy on aerospace. They'll all go at the same time because they're buying 20 different stocks across a sector. So this is why we get movement in tandem across the indices. And that's why you have these odd correlations. Like yesterday, the Dow was in charge. The Dow was moving way before the NASDAQ and the ES. So I was trading the ES, watching the Dow, and the Dow moved up. I got in long on the ES, and the ES got dragged along with the Dow. Sometimes you see these correlations, which is why I have the Dow and the NASDAQ always visible with the ES, because they will tell you what's going. If you suddenly get a massive move on one of these markets, if you get this thing, where's my thing on? Watching the NAS, if the NAS suddenly goes bang like that, tick strike lights up, then the Dow spikes up, and this thing hasn't gone anywhere yet, bang, I'm in long, and it'll be like, I'm out. It's the correlation. They call it follow the leader. Yeah, and you will identify if when a market opens, you'll spot one of these guys moving first. So at the moment, it's pretty correlated. But if you see NAS hit the highs and then do that and then break out the highs while the Dow is here and the ES is here, you can bet your bottom dollar these things will at least have a run on the highs. And this guy is normally the one to move first. The NAS is normally the first mover because it's the thinnest market and it's tech stocks, which is obviously more desirable. But you can see them all; they're all moving roughly the same. And the Russell I keep there because the Russell is the top 2,000, and the Russell I could do without the Russell, to be honest. But it's nice confluence to have because the Russell's got 2,000 stocks in it. You've got a very broad sector sweep there. Literally, you can't in the Russell. Everything's in the Russell. You know, people that make flugel binders for shoes and stuff. there's all sorts of weird and wonderful stocks in there, but there's also some fairly big guys in there. In each sector as well, so it just gives you that extra confirmation, if you like. But longs at the moment, good delta. Anywho, I'm going completely off tangent, am I? Where was I? CAD yen. Yes, CAD yen long, Swiss yen. This looks like a lovely little long opportunity as well. The yen's just a little bit stronger at the minute, but we got this lovely support potentially down here at 125 ADR. We've got this 24 just being invalidated at the minute. So getting towards a nice extension down here. So it looks good for longs when we get that Swiss franc strength, which at the moment we haven't got. Euro odd, dropping like crazy. Nice little support area that we're coming down to at the moment, but as I say, it's the euro. I'm just not going to look to long the euro until we get some movement. I think, as you pointed out with the euro US dollar, when we get down to that level on the euro US dollar, that one to one, I think that's when we'll start to see probably a little bit more strength coming through in the euro. And obviously we've got the rates being announced in 2 weeks on that as well. At the moment, I don't really want to get involved in anything euro. And I think we're probably going to, if we do get down to supports, just kind of keep grinding away to the downside. So just really not interested in longing any of this. It's so extended and so tempting. Something like that. I mean, the euro CAD, I mean, look at it. 2 weeks, we've been absolutely melting. It's just not getting anything. You are going to get a pullback on this at some point. But I'd much rather get in short up there than try and time the entry and catch that falling knife. It's just too risky on the euro at the minute. Euro pound, that's just played back. So there's the liquidity run. So just look for an Asian move and then look for a pullback. Euro yen, again, don't want to long it. Euro New Zealand, again, this is a lovely support resistance. Pretty much where we are, sort of somewhere in this zone here. Can I grab that? No, can't grab that blue. There we go, got it. So from these sort of highs here to these lows here, potentially that's a very nice looking support for the Euro New Zealand, and that is range bound. Yeah, so obviously it's come down very fast in a week. We have had that, and not the last drops on this have taken a couple of weeks, and the last pushes have taken a couple of weeks to do the range. We've done this one in a week, so it is a much stronger one. We're very embedded, but again, New Zealand hasn't really got a lot of strength at the moment, so that's pretty good as well, isn't it? Euro US dollar tanking, so yeah, looking for that one. I get the feeling we might get it in non-farm. Yeah, it's only got to do an ADR. Non-farm can easily do an ADR spike. And as I said, you're going to have a lot of limit orders. That's not a bad looking trade, actually, to be honest. Pending order down here, look. Just take a buy limit just above with a stop. Oh, God, where'd that go? Depending on obviously the size, I mean, that's not a big position. I'm going to do this because I think this is a pretty good play. So underneath 225 ADR, underneath this level, which is a support from the weekly somewhere. It's that level there. So, sorry, no, there's stops there. Stops on this level here. There's levels in there, basically, on the weekly chart. So that's a pretty good looking play, I reckon. Take that. And if they come down in non-farm and try and spike it down to that level, there's, like mine, there will be a lot of limit orders there. We will get a lot of buying, I reckon, down there, and we'll get a bounce. So it's worth a shot. That bounce could be massive. We don't know. It's non-farm. Anything can happen. But that's worth a shot. Pound odd. Short. It's just gone. I got too much pound on. I've got the pound CAD short, which is playing out very nicely at the moment. Leaving that one to run, hopefully, and get a little bit more. We've just hit ADR on that. Okay, so watch these ADRs. We've just done ADR on some of these, which is not normal ahead of non-farm. So there's something going on at the moment. Pound Swiss, got my sell on that. So I've just entered position 1 on pound Swiss. Pound yen is a long, but it's really, you know, it's the weaker. Euro yen and pound yen are the two which I'm not really interested in as longs because they're just too weak. Any kind of yen strength whatsoever is going to tank this very fast. So these two are kind of neutral. I'm not really interested in either of those longs. Pound New Zealand, we're playing the range. We got the bounce. So that was the area I had drawn in before that happened. That was my area of interest. We tapped into it. I couldn't even, it was gone so fast out of that area. Didn't even get a chance to get in. So anywhere up in there, and again, these are kind of great limit orders. Set a sell limit up there, buy limit down there, and just get gathered up. Pound US short, it's already gone. I wasn't expecting any of this to start moving in the London session. This is interesting stuff. We're just pulling back down on the indices. So that's the gap fill pretty much done there. New Zealand CAD looking for shorts, waiting for some CAD strength. This I want higher. I want to get in with a little bit of an extension on it. I don't like taking trades out of sort of accumulations. I'd much rather wait for some movement because at the moment, if this range here, that low and those highs is going to hold, we're bang in the middle. I have no idea whether it's going to go up and retest that or it's going to come down there. So it's just no point in getting in until it's got some kind of signal to tell me where to go. New Zealand Swiss, resistance, nice little bounce potentially happening there. So again, that's another good looking short. I've just got in the pound Swiss short. So I'm exposed on the Swiss once, CAD. I suppose I could get into a New Zealand Swiss, couldn't I? I quite like the look of that. I'm not going to take it. The only reason I'm umming and ahhing is same as the yen. When you get a lot of money injected into the yen, it moves very fast, very hard, and it can go into a squeeze for quite some time. The same thing is true of the Swiss franc, and the fact that we've just had that rate change on the Swissy, what I'm worried about is sustained weakness on the Swiss franc. And this not actually being the move. We haven't had this week any strength whatsoever on the Swissy. It is due, but I'd rather, again, just for safety's sake, I'd rather wait for it to get to an area where I'm really, really interested in it than just taking it because it's pulling back. This is a potential good resistance. This is a much better resistance because you've got confluence with the 24, you've got confluence with propulsion gaps, you've got confluence with the previous bounce point. That's a lovely entry. This is an okay entry. By the time we get there as well, you've got potential for RSI to be extended as well. So I'd much rather take it up there. But saying that, if you get into it now, you're only looking at an ADR away, so you'll be getting in one position early. But that's where I'd be more interested. So again, watching this stuff today, don't forget non-farm today, right? If there is a movement, it's often a spike, and you can get in. You won't be able to get in on reversal alerts on it, but if it hits that level, get in and assume that we are going to spike it. That's a good entry. That is, the market is still moving back to that area where the sellers are going to start to step in. If it does it on a spike, it's fine. You just won't get any reversal alerts off of non-farm, because obviously the move will be too fast and the reversal alert will be down here somewhere waiting for it, and you won't get it until you get back there, in which case you've missed that entry. So I kind of like that one if you fancy it. New Zealand Swiss, it's a good looking short. If I didn't have any other Swissies on, I saw the pound Swiss first and just took that one, so I would have taken that if I hadn't seen the pound Swiss. New Zealand yen, looking for longs on this. Again, New Zealand's been very weak with the Aussie against the yen. The difficulty with these, and why it's better to trade a euro or a US pair against the yen, is because you've got that disparity between sessions. So obviously the New Zealand dollar, New Zealand is the first market to open, which is why we have the 10 o'clock Sunday night open. That's them opening in the morning. So we have the New Zealand, the Aussie and the yen all trading through the Asian session. So you're trading these two when they're both at strength. So when there's money flowing through these, predominantly they're doing it in the same session. When you have money flowing through things like the CAD, the US and the pound against the yen, we are using the London session against the Asian session. The Asian session is shut, therefore manipulation is easier with European and US pairs. So you get a lot more accumulation on Australasian pairs with each other. So these are the weaker ones to take. I have taken longs on it and it's worked, but as you can see, there's not a lot of strength in it at the minute. So I'd like to see it get extended, but this is a lovely area to buy it from as well. Equally, support is holding. So right now is a good one. So a good time. So wait for that M15 reversal alert. Potentially got longs up into that area at least, which is roughly an ADR. So there is a move there. But I've got loads of yen on at the moment. New Zealand US short. Again, non-farm, waiting on it. We've been accumulating all week after that initial flurry down. Same thing as yesterday. We're flat. I have no idea. US CAD, we are looking for... Well, I'm personally looking for longs. This happened too quick. I was wanting a little bit more of a pullback. But this is potentially a strong currency against what should be a strong currency, but we're having a weakness in oil. So again, it's just really hard to trade this one at the moment. This is a triple top bounce, which it's recovering from off of that support. So I just don't know on this, and I'm certainly not going to get interested in it ahead of non-farm payroll. But I would be interested. That's where I've kind of fancied it from, but I was looking for it to come back a little bit more, and it didn't get there. It just obviously flew, so I just couldn't get on the thing. But yeah, head of non-farm, I don't really want to get interested in US dollar. US dollar Swiss we've already looked at, and US dollar yen, looking for longs. Again, 3-week accumulation. It's just not going anywhere. Every time I keep buying it, it keeps giving me money. But the last week we literally haven't got anywhere. Got reversal alert after reversal alert, which is an accumulation. You're just not getting anywhere. So not interested. So that's a quick overview of the charts. Still nothing that I'm really, really, really interested in at the minute. Nice pullback on the DAX, good rejection. But as you can probably hear, there's very little going on at the moment. Very little. Something like euro pound. Oh, typical. Now it goes. This is the chop. This is what I think we're going to get today. Wait to 1:30. So I would try and sit on your hands if you can this morning, and just wait for that movement to come on non-farm. So 1:30. Does anybody want to look at gold? I was just seeing somebody put in the Telegram group. Gold analysis. Why is everybody so fixated on gold? Gold analysis, anyone? Okay. Annie, for you, if you're in the live room, this is your gold analysis. It went down because the US dollar had a spike. At the moment, Russia holds the vast majority of gold, and we've got export bans from Russia from the G7. So the value of gold is unlikely to change because it won't be transacting very much. Therefore, it will be driven as any other Forex pair by the US dollar. There's your analysis. Gold analysis, anyone, until FOMC, he says. So where's it going to go in the next 3.5 hours? Up or down from there? I was very pedantic with someone in the Telegram group this morning, and I'm always like that when someone asks a question. Like any signals or analysis on XYZ, got to be more specific. Are you looking to hold long term for a $2 billion investment, or are you looking to scalp out for 10 pips? Are you trading M1, M5, M15, H4? What's your strategy? How long are you looking to hold? Where are you going to put your stop loss? I have no idea. My analysis on gold is I don't trade it because the thing kills me every time I do, so I trade markets I can make profit out of. That's my analysis on gold. But everybody wants to trade it because it's got a lovely ADR and it moves really fast and you can make a lot of money very quickly. Most of the time I trade it, I blow my accounts. There's my analysis on gold. Anyway, so yeah, double bottom. If it gets down there and breaks back above that level, Annie, if you're in here, if you're not, you're talking to no one, I'd buy it. And assuming that we're going to get back up into there for non-farm payroll. So take probably, I would go with 3 to 5% risk on that with a tiny little stop, and look to get out with about 20% profit, because that's what everybody trading gold wants. They want to double their account within a week and buy a Lamborghini. That's what they sell with gold, isn't it? That's why everyone trades it, because it's the one that makes you the money. So I sold gold there. I made 25% profit on my account. I bought gold there. I blew my account. Never hear about that. You'll always hear about that one. Everyone boasts about that in Telegram. No one tells you about that, does they? Anyway, sorry. I've been around in this industry far too long. I'm becoming an old man. Grumpy old git. Looking like we've got a nice bullish engulfing just gone in on the DAX. I would classify that as filled. It's got close enough for me to go, that's not in play anymore. We are still bullish though. I'm seeing nothing but positive ticks really coming through on tick strike. So there's a lot more buyers at the moment out there, but we are just rotating at the minute. So it's a difficult one. You got to be in and out really quick. $100 scalps, or sort of 8-10 tick scalps. Just when you're seeing some momentum coming in, really, because I think you're going to get a lot of that this morning. That was so funny. I hope you realised it was snark. Yeah, I know. I thought after I'd typed it, I thought I'm being really horrible to this bloke. I wasn't being horrible. I was just like, I got my crystal ball out, and it told me it was going up or down. So people just. It's a newbie thing. I know it's a newbie thing because I was a newbie once and I was doing exactly the same thing. I wanted to find signals. I wanted to find the Holy Grail. And when he doesn't realise that this is going to move depending on what 8 banks in the entire world do today. I've no idea where this is going. No one's got any idea at all where this is going. Not a clue. You go and ask somebody who's sitting on Barclays' desk today where this is going to close today, they won't have a clue. Not a clue. No one does. It's a completely chaotic market. You can't say where anything's going. When you hit the button, it's going up or down. That's all you know. And everybody's trying to find that thing that tells them where it's going, and especially something that specific. Gold analysis, anyone, until FOMC. Oh, how on earth am I meant to know where this is going in the next 3.5 hours? I bet he trades binary options as well. That's another way to make $1 million very quick, binary options. Do they still even exist? I haven't seen a binary options advert for quite a while. Crypto came along and killed binary options, didn't it? So Annie's just said it's going to dip heavy. There you go, so he's answered his own question. Sorry, I'm just being nasty. I'm not being nasty. Going to dip heavy. Spot on, either that or it'll pump hard. Hang on a minute, where's that website it's going? Long. It's definitely long. It's a long. Gold's a long. Let me just screen grab that. Sorry, I'm being nasty. I think it's a good way to teach people that the market is chaotic, random, and you can't predict where it's going to go. Basically, do your own analysis, press the button, and write it. That's all you can do. Right, that's what I've got for today. Market's pushing hard at the moment, back up to the highs. This is what you want to get in on today. When you see stuff moving, get in, get out. Take tiny little bits and pieces out. We could well have a big run of a session. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff moving pretty fast so far this morning, which is unusual for non-farm. But you know, we've still got 3.5 hours to go, so it could well just retrace this whole thing that it's put in. You know, you just got to be careful on days like this. It's all very, very hectic. Egosa. It's just laughing, yeah. So if nobody's got anything else I want to look at, I'll leave it there. I was going to do a session for non-farm, but I don't think there's much point. I mean, we'll all just be watching it. I'm not going to be trading it. I'll be flat for non-farm, and I'll wait and see what happens after it. But typically we get it all retrace back to where it was before. So all I'm going to do is sit there and go, oh look, it's gone up. Oh look, it's gone down. So there's not really much point in doing a stream on it. I will look at it next week, do an analysis on Monday of all the pairs and see where we got taken. So, but those are the positions I've got on at the minute, and I will just see where we go. Ahead of non-farm, anything I have in profit will be taken off. If it's like that, I'll leave it, pound Swiss, for example. But like the pound CAD, so if the pound CAD, when we get to non-farm, is in this exact position, that will be coming off. Might take that off, but it's that's basically, for me, that's 0.25%. So banking 0.25%, rather than having the risk of that dropping and going into a negative, is better for me. I'd rather have 0.25% in the bank and these going to more drawdown, because I can add this position back on. I can't get rid of it if it goes into drawdown. So anything I have in, same as I did in FOMC, you saw me post in the Telegram group, everything in profit comes off the table before a big news event. If it was to go my way, fine. This will go into profit, so will this. If it doesn't go my way, I don't want these going into drawdown. I want these in my bank, because I might need to use them if I need to do some drawdown control on those. So I'll be banking ahead of NFP. We've got this ADR bounce. We've got 3-bar reversal potentially going in here on M15 on the pound CAD, which is kind of tempting me to take that off. But That's a hell of a drop through Asia and London. I'm not quite sure why it's dropped quite so hard, so fast. There's no news to back this up, is there, at the minute? So yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly why that is dropping so hard, but it is. So so that's my plan for this afternoon. If this gets to sort of 0.5%, the whole lot's coming off anyway. So we'll wait and see what happens with them. But yeah, that's the plan. I would suggest you do the same if you've got anything in profit, just in case. Maybe the ex-Japanese Prime Minister got shot and the market got moved. Yeah, well, that's the thing. That would affect the yen. Again, it's not something that would really affect the yen. The yen had a bit of a push. It's not good news, is it? Japanese ex-Prime Minister being shot is not really something that you would expect. Oh, hang on, we better buy the yen. It's not got anything to do with economics. The market has knee-jerk reactions to news events, so it's like financial juice. You see something come up here. What tends to happen is market participants will pull orders. So what you see when you see a news spike is basically the market pulling orders and then evaluating what the impact might be of that news event. Because what you don't want to do is get caught on a news event the wrong side and then just be in trouble. So the best thing to do is just pull your orders, go flat, look at it, research it, and this is the analyst's job, is to basically go to the traders and say, right, this doesn't seem it's going to have any impact on XYZ. Oh, okay, fine. And then they'll re-put those orders on, which is why you see news spikes, V-shaped recoveries. Knee-jerk reaction to unexpected news. Not really any news. We're fine. Carry on as we were. That's what that tends to be. Someone being shot that is an ex-prime minister, though, I'm quite surprised they even had a response. But you know, the markets are scared of everything. You know, because there's the amount of money on the line in the banks. You know, dropping 20 points or 20 pips on a currency can cost an awful lot of money. So it's better not to have that drop, just in case, than it is. So, Jesse, you should at some point a New York open session on the ES. Yeah, will do. Like I say, what I will do is I will record it. And put it up. I'd much rather record me trading than me doing it live. I find I trade differently when I'm trading live. When I've been doing these sessions in the morning and switching over to futures and doing some futures trading, I tend to find I trade differently. My thought process is slightly different. I'm more uptight when I'm doing this now than I am when I'm thinking, okay, I'll let that ride a little bit more. So I'm a little bit looser with my trading, and it's better to be that way for me than I am when I'm doing it live, because I don't want people to be following me and hitting the button at the same time. You can't anyway. I'm about half a minute lagged. So if I hit the button here, you know, if I go long here, just don't really want to do anything in a minute, but you know, if I go long down there and it hits me, and I'm looking for 8 ticks out of it, I'm going to be out, and you will have missed it because the move will have happened. So you can't copy anyway, unless somebody's doing swings or position trading on it. But this isn't particularly interesting this morning. We're just getting the market. When you see this this type of thing happening on the ES, this is basically just algorithmic, large orders moving the market, rather than being absorption or anything. It's indicative of a thin, weak market. So these big orders move the market, and these bubbles are based on average volume and large volume based on compared to average volume. So when you've got light volume, even a small trade, these are probably like 40s or something. Oh, that's a 130. That's a big one actually. So yeah, 20s and 60s, 44. You know, these aren't particularly massive amounts of orders going in 20s and 40s, but because there's light liquidity, it classes it as a big trade. It's not. It's just, this is all you need. You only need 40 to move the market today because there's no liquidity in it. So when you see this, lots and lots of bubbles, it quite often is a signal, I think, that you're going to get a lot of chop. So you just got to be a bit careful. But anyway, yeah, I don't think we're going to get very far today. By the looks of things, it's all a bit weak. We've actually flatlined on the NAS since, what's that, 7 minutes past 8. Sorry, no. 9. Yeah, 9 o'clock basically. So yeah, 15 minutes flat sideways. Nothing happening. But this sort of thing as well. So this is ideal. I'm just going off on one now. This is ideal conditions for position trading. So as a position trade, what I tend to do is I look for basically around about $100 to $200 out of each trade, and look for clusters. So we get a lot of cluster rotation, as we're seeing here. So we're getting a rotation of that cluster, yeah, at the moment. So you get a lot of rotation. So when we slip out of a rotation, I like to buy it, assuming that we're going to slip back into the rotation, because you get little spikes out the top and little spikes out the bottom of these rotations. So a buy order in there, yeah. If it slips over the VWAP today and drops down, a little buy order in that dip, assuming we're going to rotate back out to there, exit the position, yeah. If it then slips back down into here, a buy order down there, and wait to rotate back up into that area again. So what you're doing is you're averaging in. Because it's not far, I use a 32 ticks stop on these types of positions. So if I got into that one, which I might actually do, okay. So when you get into that position, I'm looking basically for sort of $100, $150 profit out of it. Get in again there. There's my stop down there. So you can see how fast this market has moved today, yeah? So this is the low which we were at 8 o'clock this morning. So an hour ago we were down there. We've moved all the way up to there in about half an hour. And in the last half an hour we've done virtually nothing. So I can play all day pretty much within this section, just scaling in and scaling out of positions. So if it goes my way, I'll grab one. Brilliant. And then I'll add it back on again, assuming we're going to continue that rotation. If that rotation fails, I'll get in down there, wait for it to rotate back up. But what I'm doing is every time I'm getting in, I'm bringing my average back down so I can escape with like $50 really, really quick, looking for a 4-tick move. Yeah, look at that. That's probably an 8-tick move there. So we're looking sort of there to there. Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-tick move. So we had a 7-tick move for 10 minutes. If you average in every 7 to 8 ticks, you're only looking for a 4-tick move to get out of break even, or take 2 ticks out of it for $50, or depending on the same. I'm going in with 2 contracts at a time here. I'll be taking $100 out at a time. So this sort of play, when you see the market profile like this in the Globex session, is really easy, and this is why I've managed to scalp $1,000, $2,000 out of this in a Globex session. You can get caught out, and if you get caught out, you'll lose $1,000. But you won't get caught out very often because there's no volume. If one of these suddenly goes mental, I'll scratch the lot fast and take a loss on it. Yeah, so if I see the Dow suddenly go, or if tick strike lights up like a lunatic in the opposite direction to what I'm trading, yeah, then I'll scratch it and I'll take whatever loss I take. But when the market's this slow, you've got such a lot of room to play. Look at this. If this thing ticks back up from here as support, back up to where we were, that's $400. It might take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But those trades, those 4 trades I took this morning, these ones were 20-minute trades, 15, 20-minute trades. But that's the sort of thing you want to do in the futures market when it's like this. How much are you willing to lose if your 3 positions never really get into profit? I will be somewhere around $1,000 to $1,500. Depending on, I'll watch it. I mean, I'm not going to, I've got in with 2 contracts here. Normally I would do this on 1 contract, but this is really, really light today. But yeah, it all depends on how fast it moves against me in this sort of position. So if I would look to get in here now, but if it does this, and I can see some big orders coming in, there's only one, and it starts to drop, I'm not going to get into another position. If it starts to go a little bit weak like that, then I'll enter another one in there. I should have got in with 2 contracts there. I'm just being a bit light on it. I should have got in with 1 contract and 1 contract, but I've gotten a bit too heavy on that first one. But we've got this big node there, which I'm going to use as support. So I want to see them tick into this, tick out, tick in, tick out, tick in, tick out. I want to see this hold. Next big order's sitting down here, which is past point of control today. So if we get down to point of control, and I see some bullish absorption, delta turning up, double bottom, I'll be looking to add in another position there, and then just wait for it to rotate back up again, because then invariably that's what we're looking at. If you want to be super safe on them, enter at a bottom. So here is a prime spot. Which account am I doing this on? That's that one there. So yeah, just sit here and wait for the market to move. In these sorts of plays, I'll go into $300, $500, $700 drawdown, and then I'll just take 200 out of it when it does the rotation, and that's typically what we tend to get. My rule of thumb is if I can see my entire market profile for the Globex session on one ladder, I know we're in a range this session, and you can kind of assume that range is going to continue. This is the one that's going to prove me wrong, obviously, today, by going absolutely crazy and tanking now that we've done that gap fill on DAX. But obviously, yeah, then I will stack my losses as well. So I will have one I'm out level. So at the moment, I'm looking at about $1,000 risk, which a positive. You don't need a positive risk reward in this type of market. Doesn't really make a lot of difference. Oh my God. That guy was asking about the gold, and I said, CoinFlip said it's going to go long. He's just made a profit. He's taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 positions on gold within 2 ticks, 3 ticks, 5 ticks of each other. So basically he's just gone buy. He's in $1,500 on a 3K account probably. Gambling. Jesse, strange, my point of control has 2683 contracts on it. Mine's got 2721. Mine's got 2721. Yeah. You've got 2683. You're 40 contracts out somewhere. Which feed are you using? If you're using Apex, see, I'm using TS Trader. I'm using Tradeovate feed. They should be the same though, because we're seeing the same market. It's just that they may have started their data feed maybe a second later or something, and there's 40 contracts being traded, which one of us hasn't got, or it won't be you that hasn't got them, but it's so minimal. Don't need to worry about exact numbers really. It's just the fact that if this had 40 less contracts in it, it would still be point of control. There's quite a lot of selling going on. But you can see the volumes at the minute. We are after that 8k push, we pulled back on 4, we pushed up on 4, we're pulling back on 3/4. Delta though is on side, so we are bullish Delta. Delta divergence is bullish. But you see how slow it is. This is why people don't trade Apex. Trade Globex. Why have I got a crosshair? Weird. Oh, there we go, it's gone now. Cumulative delta has been steadily going up. Yeah, the more buyers, it's just been basically more buying. But market's coming down, so it's just you know, there are more buyers in the market. There's just the sell orders that are coming in are just ticking it down faster. It's to do with the liquidity in the market at the time, really. Let me reset this. Maybe we'll be able to see it. Look how many contracts are trading and how fast. Look, one contract. One contract. See, with this I mean by the liquidity. If I stick a 30 contract order in the market now, I'll move it. Because there's just no liquidity. I won't move it actually because there's 48 contracts sitting on the offer. But you know, if you dump 200 contracts, that's a 3 or 4 tick move. See, look, we're still positive. 28, 34. It's very heavy at the minute. Okay, rolling over point of control. So I'm just sitting basically behind these orders. Getting chewed up here. Okay, so I'm going to add one more on a tick up, assuming that we're going to hold this value area low. A lot of orders coming in being absorbed down here. Big sell orders just come in. So if we start to tick up from here, 3 or 4 ticks, probably 4 or 5 ticks, somewhere around the 90-50 level, I'd expect these guys to puke, which will add fuel to the fire. And hopefully we'll get a rotation back up from there. If not, I shall be stopped out. This is going to be sod's law, isn't it? The one I'm doing it live, this is the one where I make the loss on it. So Delta's just started to tick down. We've made a new low. So looking at head fakes we were talking about yesterday. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. Trouble is we've got a magnet order down here which is going to drag price down and quite possibly tick me through that. And so in fact what I'm going to do, just going to go a few ticks below that. When we get these big orders here, if they absorb that as we got there with that, there was a fairly decent size order there. We tend to tick down through it a little bit before we push back up. So I've just given myself a little bit of breathing room in case, but a lot of selling coming in at the moment. So come on, where's all the buyers? There's a big order just been absorbed on the Dow. Say big, look at it, it's 1310. It's just, there's no volume anywhere. You see how thin this is, yeah? When we're talking about thin and thick markets. This is really thin at the moment. This is even thinner. We got 8, there's not even double digit contracts sitting on the bid on the NAS or the Dow. So this is the danger of Globex. For any quant, it's so easy to move the market. You dump 100 orders in, you got 4 ticks out of it, easy. On the NASDAQ, you know, you see this, we've actually got gaps here in the bid and offer. We got like a 2 pip spread, or 2 tick spread in the bid and offer. You know, this is moving so fast, but you've got no contracts. You've got 1, 2, 3, 9, 6 contracts sitting on the levels. You can't trade this sort of stuff unless you are super confident. And you need a wide old stop on there. You're going to need 30, 50 tick stops on it. I just can't getting my head around NAS futures. It's just too quick, and especially at the open, this thing. You know, I've tried to trade it, but I can't do it. ES is so much more civilized. ES is a lightsaber. Nasdaq is a blaster. Oops, here's the mic. Just realised that guy that put the P&L screenshot of his phone in the Telegram group is forwarded from some other person, so it's not even his. Forwarded from somebody else's Telegram. This is going to take ages, this trade. So that rotation from here, don't know how long that's taken, but you see how long it's taken to get this far. Now I've got to wait as long if we are going to go into rotation. Well, obviously there's every chance this could slip out the lows and we could get a dump on it, but a lot of absorption going on at the minute. You know, this is, you could take a good half an hour for this to actually get anywhere near back up to those highs again. The safer play here is to go out the lows with your stop, but I've got a few too many contracts on now to be able to do that. It's too much risk. So 87.75 is support. So that's the low support there where we're tapping into now. So looking for a quick liquidity run of that and push. If that fails, there's every chance it's coming out the bottom, which would be bloody annoying because there goes my morning's profit. But hey, this is why I said I wasn't going to trade Globex. But anyway, I've done it. I'm an idiot. Okay, so there goes that 100 contracts sell. So that was a legitimate order. What's that? $200. So that'll take me to 19. So play is basically the rotation from the lows. So I'll add in as we get there just to give me a little bit of a faster out. Looking to rotate up into this area. There's no buyers at all in this market whatsoever. Pull back on just over 1,500 contracts there. That was 100 contracts, wasn't it? Yeah, so if you look at the delta now, we've got no buyers to replace these sellers at the moment. They're just holding this market down. We need some delta to come in. We need some positive delta after a drop like this to try and get this move started. That was delta divergence there, which is, we stalled it. So it looks like it could go, but we need the buyers to start stepping in, and that's what we're not getting at the moment. We're just not getting any buyers whatsoever. If we can step back above the lows, we've got half a chance. But it's just slow. We're also approaching the 2 standard deviations from VWAP. Are you using that? Are you? I can't get with standard deviations. I've tried trading standard deviations. They are very similar to ADR. The problem you get with standard deviation, well, the problem I found I had with standard deviations was it made me become, like Peter calls, a perma-fader. If we were 2 standard deviations away from VWAP, I would do nothing but sell into all of that buying pressure. So if you put your VWAP on here, you probably got it on here, I guess, haven't you? So what I will do now, because we are, there's your VWAP, because we're 2 standard deviations away from VWAP, I will be a buyer. And if this comes down, I'll buy it. And if it stops me out, I'll buy it again. If it stops me out, I'll buy it again. If it stops me out, I'll buy it again. What are you doing here? It's just buying against the trend all the time. You become what Peter calls a perma-fader. Yeah, so you are permanently trying to fade the drop. And I found the VWAP deviations made me fatal perma-fader. Sometimes they work, but it's like me with ADR, yeah? The ADR trades that I've taken over the last week have been 175 and 200 ADRs. I haven't taken 100s and 125s. I've taken 150, 175, 200 plus, because I know that they are way more reliable. 2 standard deviations, fine. 3 standard deviations, probably better. So if you got rid of 1 and 2, yeah, and just said I'm only going to take 3 standard deviations away from VWAP, that's probably safer. So you'd have had a long there. Pop. You didn't quite get there on these occasions. That one you did. Pop, pop, pop. Yeah. But the 2 standard deviations, you would have been buying that, buying this, buying this, buying this, buying that. All the way down there, you'd have had 5 or 6 failed trades before you got to that. I just found it, it it forced me to be out of sync with the trend. You know, do you want to be anything but a buyer right now? You know, look at the market open. Look at what we did at the open. Yes, we've had a deep pullback, but look at Delta. Nothing but buyers been in the market all day. This is a pullback, potentially on a new leg. May not be, but you've got to have a bias, and I just find this skews your bias. Same as Bollinger Bands. You know, you as soon as your market gets outside of Bollinger Bands, you sell. How many times have you seen Bollinger Bands where it's pushed through the Bollinger Band like that, and it's gone like that, and it's rode the Bollinger Band? Everybody's been selling it, selling it, selling it, selling it, selling it. It's an uptrend. You know, these bands and deviations, I think they have a use. But I think they're also very dangerous in a trend day. So if you think the market is going to trend quite a lot, we get 2 or 3 trend days a week on indices. And in those trend days, that's where I make the most of my money. When we have range days, that's when I tend to have my lost days. Some buyers stepping in now. Absorbed all of that selling. That's when I tend to have my my bad days. My trend days is the days I bank 4K, 5K, which you've seen me posting. I love trend days. That's when I make my money. I'm a trend trader with indices. And bands are mean reversion. So you'll counter trend all the time. But if they work for you, use them. You know, it's just you got. I just couldn't get them to work for me. Oops. And you can shade them as well. That's quite cool. I haven't even used them on this platform. Yeah. So you see, they basically. I think probably in New York session it's probably more useful. I think it's probably a lot less useful in Globex, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, one standard deviation shorts there, both of them work beautifully. Yeah, it's like anything, isn't it? They will work sometimes, other times they won't. It's whether or not you can stick with them. Like the long would have worked there. Your long here, hopefully is going to work because I'm long. What's the second deviation do? Is that different colour? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't get them to make me do anything but miss trends. That's what I just found. I was concentrating too much on mean reversion when you are trending, and that's where I realised that's where the money's to be made most of the time, for me anyway. But everybody uses different things in different ways, and everything can be used in a different way. So just have to try stuff. In Confluence, I think is probably useful. So if you see standard deviation 2 being beaten up, and then you have a large delta spike, that's your entry. Probably large delta spike. I think large tips, big orders, positive correlation with the NAS and the Dow. So yeah, I can see how they would probably work that way. Might have a look into that actually for a mean reversion strategy. But you need volume. Volume delta, cumulative delta is only useful if you've got volume. When you're in light volume, obviously, you know, that means nothing, that means nothing, that means nothing. Something like that quite often will mean something. So, I don't know. This is why you have to watch. The best way to learn is to just watch the market in futures. Just like having them on the chart as a general idea of short-term extended move. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what they're there. They are there for standard deviation, mean reversion. A lot of people, a lot of institutions, you'll see standard deviations on their charts. A lot of their quants are working on standard deviations, and that's what value area is as well. You know, the value area high and value area low is a 70% deviation from your point of control. So it's the same principle. A lot of people sell the value area high and buy the value area low. That's why it's called a value area, because when it gets down to here, it's deemed to be valuable. There's all sorts of, I mean, there's strategies galore for everything, isn't there? It's one thing you see in prop firms. There's no two prop firm traders that trade the same way. They all trade differently, but they trade on their discretion based on what talks to them. Yeah, it's good. Good tool to use, but the trouble is, I think you've got to hold it, haven't you? That's the thing. Where do you put your stop? So if you were using VWAP deviations, where would you put your? So I guess the entry is going to be on delta. So swing high, I guess, isn't it? So you would just use swing high. So there, we didn't get any delta signal. See, this is the problem with it, I think. Yes, it pulled back out of that deviation, but look at delta. We've got delta divergence forming, which is bullish. That's bullish delta divergence. Mixed signals, isn't it? But I guess it's because we're on light volume, isn't it? So tricky. We just pushed up on 4,000 contracts there. So flipping back to bullish price action. My preference is for 2 standard deviations. 1 standard deviation is too short, but then again, it just gave me a general idea. It's certainly not systematic. Yeah. This is mechanical. I think this is the thing I don't like about futures trading with mechanical systems. I don't like mechanical. I like mechanical systems in Forex, but then again, I'm trading longer terms. Mechanical systems in futures. I think that's where it struggles, because in futures, because the value per tick is so high, mechanical systems that haven't got a high strike rate can very soon grind you down as a trader. If you have a mechanical system that fails for an entire session, you'll very, very quickly drop that system, because of the amount of money on the line per tick. You know, I'm now at the moment I'm trading $75 a tick here. Obviously, you don't need to trade that big, but I think that's really why I don't like the mechanics of it. You've got to wait for X to happen and Y to happen. So all the time you're sitting, well, not you, but any trader that's using, for example, 2 standard deviations is sitting here waiting for those 2 standard deviations to get hit. I've been in and out of the market and made $2,000 while you're waiting for, hoping for it to get there, or not. And yeah, a trader is hoping for it to get there. I've made $2,000 there. I've made 300 there. I might have missed this one out and made 500 there. I make 600 going back this way. You haven't had a signal. So I mean, it's a difficult thing to use, a mechanical strategy. I'm interested in what's the market doing at the moment. Are we more buy heavy, buy sell heavy? Have we got orders coming in? Where are we likely to be turning next? There's no way that we are turning anywhere near standard deviations, because I can see where all the market participants are. Yeah, we're not going to get any higher than that rotation. This rotation isn't unlikely to get higher than 90 today. In Globex, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. Like I say, it's a very discretionary thing. This type of trading, scalping, is very different. But I might look into that. I mean, you can backtest this, obviously, on a session by session basis. So the other thing I don't like about the VWAP bands as well is it really stretches out your chart, and you can't see the you can't see anything. It makes your chart all funny. That's why another reason I don't like them. But yeah, I mean, 2 standard deviations. At the Open, New York Open, you hit 2 standard deviations here, look. Short, stop out. Short, stop out. Short, stop out. Short. Don't know if he stopped out on that one. Can't see it yet. Hang on. Probably stopped out. Then it didn't hit the deviation again. So there's 5 stops there. 5 stop outs, and then no trade opportunities throughout the day. Yet yesterday I made over $2,000 trading the trend long. I don't know. He said just. But then you'll have days where it will work absolutely beautifully. But I think, do you know what this is? This is akin to what I teach in the bootcamp. This is your condition, your market condition indicator. You need a signal indicator if you're going to use indicators. The signal indicator's got to be really volume and price action, which is delta. The problem I see here is delta tends to flatten out on exhaustion rather than turn. So you can't really use delta as a signal. You could use delta divergence. I haven't got delta divergence there either, though. Yeah, so I don't know. Needs to be investigated, really. I think a little bit more. Scalp long, swing long. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Again, are you going to be an inch? When you're using this, you need to decide, do I want to be an intraday scalp or do I want to be an intraday swing? And in which case, where am I swinging it back to? VWAP? But then you can become a trend trader and run these trends. I don't know. We're making up systems. It's all good. I love talking about stuff like this. I'm very much always trying to prove everything wrong. When I find something that I struggle to prove wrong, that's when I get interested in using it. Like the 24 and the 72 moving average. They just seem to work so well, but they still fail, but they're great confluence indicators. So you can pick things and go, yeah, it works sort of 40% of the time. I'll use it as a confluence indicator, but I won't let it be my focal point. I'll use it with something else. Everything's got to be used. If you're going to have a mechanical system rather than a discretionary system, you've got to have a number of different things telling you the same thing. God, this thing's flat as a pancake. Look at the volume going through. It's just awful. We haven't ticked for ages. Oh, there we go. 30 contracts just coming. I'm not liking the look of this. Just watching Delta to see if we got any signs of life on the buy side. Doesn't look like it in the minute. Just pushed up on 2,000 contracts there. There's just the trouble is with this at the moment, and this is why volume is so important in liquid markets and in busy times. It really gives you an indication of which way the market's going. The fact that this thing can push up on 1.8, higher than it did on the 3.9 doesn't tell me anything whatsoever. I have no idea where the bias is at all. Yeah, Delta can do what the hell it likes. It's not really having any impact at the moment. This is why I think everybody, you see, reading all the forums, no one trades Globex because it has this ability to chop you to death. But then on the other hand, every few days you suddenly go, wow, this is so easy, and you just read it like a book. Should really just concentrate on New York. See what you're saying, but you're focused on taking the mean reversion strategy type approach, which for me hasn't worked out. Yeah. I said you're gonna do your own thing. What works for you, as long as you can get bits and bobs out of the market and make money consistently with whatever approach. That's really all that's important. I never really slate a strategy or slated an indicator. I just don't find some of them click with me, but they will click with other people. There's plenty of people out there making money with all sorts of things. Tea leaves. Astrology. People keep getting in touch with me about this astrology system. 225, 250 contracts. Oh, he's just moved it. So this is a spoof. This is a spoof order. This is not a real order. So they're basically enticing shorts in at the moment. This keeps moving every time we get to it. This isn't looking good. I'm going to have to take a loss on this one. Do you see that move? So that's a perfect example of a spoof. Yeah, they were sitting at that level. As soon as price got to it, they moved it down. Price got to it again, they moved it back down again. Now we've ticked into it, stopped out. See, those orders didn't execute. So they're enticing shorts in. In a minute, this is going to pop, but it's too deep for me, so I've had to escape it. $1,000 down. There you go. That's why you don't trade Globex. 700 up, 1,000 down. But then again, I was position trading, which is obviously way more risky than using a stop momentum strategy, which is what I tend to do. So I'll get that back this afternoon. I'm just going to move that off my chart because otherwise I'll be watching VWAP. So this is what I love using the swing chart. So this is telling me now the market is flipping short. I can see deltas dropping. So I'm much more interested in looking for short opportunities now. So every pullback looking for shorts. Session. In fact, I'm going to do a session break. Uh, 375 short contracts come in. So go for break of the short, break of the lows if we get to it. But again, now there's this thing could just rotate all the way back up today. But look at the volume that's coming in. We're very, very, very sell heavy on that spoof. Just about to run into an absolute brick wall on the NASDAQ. $387. So we've got massive imbalance, sell side imbalance. Yeah, if we tick up now this sort of area, all these sellers are going to puke that order. We're going to go flurry up. So I suspect we are going short from here because you don't enter nearly 400 contracts short unless you're sure and unless you're a big player. But this is, again, you know, I say about Peter and his phrase perma-fader. This is a head fake. So everyone will be buying this up now. Trying to fade this drop. And then as soon as we break that low, they're all going to get out of those positions and tumble. Just got another big 132 contracts come in. But if we get absorbed, they're all going to puke and we'll pop. Who knows? You don't know who's in charge. You see, there's always a bigger fish. That's why I find this so interesting watching what's going on under the hood here. There's always a bigger fish. You get some guy come in with 400 contracts short and you're like, there's no way this thing's going up. This bloke's just committed his mortgage to it, or this bank. And then the whale comes along from Barclays and says, 400, is that all you've got to execute? I've got 20,000 here. And poof, off it goes in the other direction. Super fast. Always a bigger fish, which is why it's in, out, in, out, in, out. It's getting these little bits and pieces, because the big fish, you never know when the big fish are coming in. You can see them coming in, but you've no idea whether this guy, with this sell here, whether that's entering the market, exiting the market, you don't know what it is. Whether it's a long-term position, whether it's a hedge from a bank that's going to be held for 3 months. All you can tell is there's big orders coming in here and which direction they're going in. You don't know what the intention of those orders is, and that's the thing that's why this is there's no magic bullet here. This is just telling you we've got a cluster. When we get clusters, we tend to get either fast moves. We tend to get fast moves out of the clusters. Still no directional bias. Doesn't give you any directional bias. But they were certainly interested in getting it down. So I would say pop out the bottom is probably a good idea. Aren't you a bit suspicious that if it ticks below the session low, so tagging your entry, you won't have enough volume to actually bring price down, so end up with a false break? Yeah. So what I'm looking for on this is my kind of bread and butter at the open. So when the volume profile resets at the New York Open, when I see what's going on with Delta and I see what the initial move is, I'm taking each of those breaks on volume, getting out, waiting for it to retrace, take another break on volume, wait to get out, and I will do that multiple times until it fails, and then I will have a think. I'm looking for the pop. If when it breaks this low it doesn't pop, if it just tags me in and ticks around for 20 seconds, I'll scratch it because it's not working. It will go or it won't. And we will get a little bit of a pullback on it, and then it will take a second run and go, or it will just go through the level, and I'll get slipped in. I might get in down here somewhere. What am I getting in at? 84 flat. So I might get in at 82.50 because it will slip me, because there's just someone will just enter a whale order. 213 more contracts just come in there. Look. Yeah, this is selling the hell out of this thing at the minute. But we're not making any progress. What does that tell you? There's someone on the other side buying the lot. Absorption. So there's every possibility this will not get broken, this session low, and we will just rotate back up ahead of non-farm. We've got 3 hours yet, 2.5 hours. Look how long that's taken. Absolutely can do that. Unlikely, though, to get through the 900s. But it's the same as any trading. You've got to make a decision based on what you see here. I see a lot of sellers coming in the market. I'm seeing nothing but selling coming in. I'm seeing 3,000 contracts going short. Last time we made a move, it was 6,000 contracts short. We've pushed up on very decent volume, 4,000, but where did we get? Nowhere. We didn't make it anywhere. We are totally seller heavy. I just happened to scale in, and this is the danger with position trading, like I just did, as you just saw. Bias is long. If you do it at a bias shift, you're going to get run over. And those are the risks you take. 2 days out of 3 days, this will work beautifully, and I'll scalp 1,500, 2 grand out the market. Some days it won't, and I'll get run over like that. But, you know, I have lost days. I have win days. You know, it's the same as anything. You just got to take your losses. That trade's gone now. I've forgotten it, and we're on to the next one now. More sellers come in. That white one is new low, so volume coming in at the new lows. So I'm looking basically for this to pop. I'll sit behind that cluster. So we've got a high volume node with a high-ish volume node. So I will let this roll for a bit, but it didn't pop, did it? So what do you think that might have been? That spike. What did I just say? All these guys here might do. Puke. Out. Bias takeover. So this could well be the low forming now. But what I want to see to make my decision as to whether or not this is still a valid short, I want to see all these buyers coming in now. There's no large orders coming in at the moment. There's buying stepping in. But I want to see this lot make no progress. I want to see this tick green, tick green, tick green, and just basically rotate. Because if they're just going to buy out of this position, yeah, and not make any progress, those buyers are just going to go, this is not working. We need to get out of these positions, which makes them sellers. And all these guys will then go, thank you very much. And that's when we'll get the pop. We didn't get the pop there. So my thought process is now, give it the benefit of the doubt, see if we rotate. Every opportunity now that we're going to go that way. Some days you get it right, some days you get it wrong. You just can't tell, which is part of discretionary trading. You've got to see what's happening, but you have to, the missing piece is what the intention of those orders is. That's the bit you don't know. So I'm thinking the buyers might make a little progress, but not enough. And as it ticks back down against them while they're buying, look at the delta, yeah? We're ticking up on negative delta. There's no progress being made by these buyers coming into the market. There's no big orders. There's no fish. There's no big fish going long. All the big fish are going short. On a down move. So yes, of course it's going to pull back. That's what we get. We get pullbacks. But you know, same as I say with the moving averages and everything. Do you want to get in front of that freight train right now? No. But it's light volume, isn't it? It's, so this volume node here, when that breaks and we get back down to this level, will potentially pop. So I'll take another one on a new break of the new low. We've traded no contracts here yet. So if my position is right and we are going to suddenly get a flurry of sell orders coming in, I'll gather up 2 positions to ride it. If I'm wrong, I'm only going to get wrong on 1 contract. Got some headway to make up now anyway, so The other thing we've got against a move down as well is the Nasdaq. Yeah. Manic miner here trying to dig its way through all these buy orders down here. It's a lot of mining to be done, isn't it? It's a big old brick wall in the way there. Just no volume. Scammer. I was just watching the Telegram group. Sorry, not concentrating. That bloke posting, that Annie guy. Sir, you want investor password for my account. This is MT4 in today's trade. 30k equity, and I don't close my trades on loss. Rather, I top up equity as much as I need in case of drawdown. That's a really good strategy. So if you're losing, you just keep putting more and more and more money into your account until you don't have any more money left, and give it all to your broker. That's a really good strategy. This is my wife's Telegram. Oh, so he's got his wife doing it. I'm in it, and I'm using it. The trading account is mine. Okay. God, people fall for this stuff still. Okay, so we're accumulating down here. So we just rotated. Well, it's not even really a rotation. It's just a temporary pullback by the looks of things. So looking to see if we can pop the lows again. Looking for some volume. Some big orders in here. May well be spoofs. They've already pulled them a couple of times. So market tends to get attracted towards spoof orders. So we should see a flush, I suspect, down to 80s, which will be about $350. And that's probably where I will get out of both of these, if we get the flush. Aren't you a bit suspicious that if it ticks below... Oh yeah, I've already read that one. My conclusion is I won't get involved this morning. Got really close to hitting the buy, then sell button each time. Price would have reversed immediately. Yeah. It's not a good. It's not good conditions to trade this morning. That was a really stupid position trade I put on, but never mind. It's only money. Comes back just as fast. We got positive delta starting to trickle in. So there's ever such slight bull divergence starting to come in. Here come the sells. Okay, so it's tagged me into the second order. So I'm interested to see what happens when we test 82 as to whether this order gets pulled. What I want to see is this jump down or add volume onto that level. We're certainly not getting a pop, are we? So So 7,000 contracts down, pulled back on 1.8 and made a new low. So it's definitely still bearish, but it just this is the problem with it. You just got to wait so long for your trades to play out when it's this illiquid. It's just tedious. I think you need to be in the right frame of mind for it. Sometimes I'm just not in the frame of mind to sit here for 20 minutes to make $200. A bit of buying coming on the DAX there. Which is still slightly worrying. We've got quite a lot of absorption on the Nasdaq down there. We're pushing back up and retesting recent high. Dow is in a pullback. Just reducing risk slightly. It's covering this high. Give it a tick out the top. A couple of ticks. So that's yeah. I'll update you what happens with this. This is the last trade I'm going to take this morning. See if it's going to work or it's not. So I'll be down 600 on the morning, which is one trade at the open in, let's face it. Yesterday's open, we're going to make yesterday's open. Three, four, five, six, seven, eight. I don't know, $1,800. You know, just got to trade when the conditions are right, and the conditions are certainly not right at the minute. I'll let you know what happens with this one. But yeah, that'll put me down 600 on the morning, which is not an issue. Or I'll go down 1,600 on the morning, which might be an issue because it kind of limits my wiggle room at the New York Open, because I won't take more than a 3K loss. But we'll see. There's plenty of room to scalp the Open. So yeah, so be aware, obviously, this morning of non-farm at 1:30. Well, I say this afternoon. So you got 3 hours, and likely to have quite a lot of sideways action for those 3 hours. Just got into a bit more drawdown. So we are literally just rotating London by the looks of things. So we've done that ADR, just bouncing up at the moment. So likelihood is we're just going to get that sort of price action happening this morning. Yeah, and then obviously non-farm will shake the market up, hopefully, and then we'll get some decent movement this afternoon in the New York session. So just try and be patient and sit on your hands as much as possible this morning. Oh dear. Hope he got out of those gold longs, that guy. Otherwise he's in trouble. He's about to add the rest of his mortgage into his account by the sounds of things. Right, I'll leave it there, guys. I'll be back on Monday, 7:50 usual time. I'll be in the Telegram group though. If you've got anything or need anything, other news today, you just need to, it's all coming out at the same time anyway. So we've got CAD affected as well with the unemployment figures, but everything is going to move on non-farm. So that's it. Then next week. We've got Kuroda speaking on Monday, but apart from that, next week is mainly CPIs. So it's CPI week. We've got the Canadian dollar rates announced. We've got Aussie unemployment. We've got PPIs. We've got retail loads next week. It's going to be a busy week next week. Be good. I've got New Zealand rates as well. So all forecast half percentiles. US has just adjusted its forecast to 0.75s. So we may well get some surprises on those. We'll see. Should be a good, interesting week next week, but keep your eyes peeled. All right, have a good one. I'll post to Telegram the outcome of this trade, if it ever actually gets to one or the other. At the moment, it's buying up like crazy. Not really moving very far though. So yeah, and I'll be back on Monday, same time. So have a good non-farm. Hopefully you can make some money this afternoon. And if you've got anything, come in the Telegram group. Otherwise, see you Monday morning.